Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video, I wanted to talk about, jump in a little bit more into these contract talks between Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and the New York Giants. So by now, everybody's knowing about that magical number, mysterious number, infamous number of $45 million. And it has set the NFL world in a frenzy. You wake up in the morning, ESPN, NFL Network, Fox Sports, everybody's talking about whether or not Daniel Jones is worth $45 million. But again, if you know negotiations, that first number that you offer or that you bring up is probably not going to be the number that you lay on or land on, I should say. And so, yes, the rumors out there, and it did not come from anybody's camp. This was a source saying that it was $45 million. So with that being said, you're probably looking at a realistic number of either $38 to $40 million is what my assumption would be. And then how does that number sit with you? In the previous video, I said that $35 million was my walking away point. And I still believe that, because even though the going rate for a quarterback will, get higher, and $35 to $40 million for a quarterback will not be a lot of money in the next probably 2 years, as soon as Burrow, Herbert, and these guys get their money. But you still have to think about it. These guys are probably going to get somewhere in the range of $55 million to $55, $60 million. So does that same price point hurt you as much in 2 years? And this is if Joe Schoen wants to, in fact, re-sign Daniel Jones. But outside, and again, everybody's been talking about Daniel Jones. What's been getting pushed to the back burner a little bit, in my opinion, is the Saquon Barkley discussion. Will Saquon Barkley be a New York Giant next year? And my answer to that is, it's up to Saquon Barkley if he wants to be a New York Giant, because the Giants will offer him a contract. It might not be the number that he wants, but they will offer him a contract to play for the New York Giants. Will Saquon Barkley accept that money or that offer from the New York Giants? That's the question, because the Giants want him back clearly. Saquon Barkley wants to be a Giant, but at the number that the Giants are trying to offer him, will he accept it? That's where we're at right now. And another rumor was, because I thought, if they get a deal done with Daniel Jones, then, at least you're probably going to franchise tag Saquon Barkley at the $10 million price point. And that's fantastic for the Giants, operating, giving this man $10 million when they offered him $12.5 at the buy. And he walked away from that. And now it's looking like the Giants are not going to budge off of that number. Saquon Barkley is probably going to test free agency, and then he'll find out that for his services, he's probably not going to get more than a 2-year deal with his history. He hasn't been the healthiest of runners. I'm not going to say that, he's injury prone, but he's had a history of injuries. And you even saw it this year. He banged up his shoulder, and then his production went down a little bit, in the middle of the season. But by the end of the season, he was back to, those Saquon Barkley numbers. I believe he only had, 4 games where he rushed over 100 yards. But again, the man was consistent throughout the year. Again, he battled through that shoulder injury and showed some toughness. Now, people will say, it was a contract year, so you're gonna, fight through some injuries. You're gonna make it on the field because you're trying to get your money at the end of the day. And I do believe that as well. I think that had it not been a contract year for Saquon Barkley, he probably would have rested that shoulder at least 1 or 2 games rather than just toughing his way through, the whole season. So that's a lot of things that people have to think about. And again, you might have seen Saquon Barkley play his last game in New York. And it hurts to say that, but it's just something that could be an absolute reality. And again, it is up to Saquon Barkley whether or not he wants to play for the New York Giants, whether or not he wants to accept the deal that they're offering right now. Because right now they're probably still offering him a deal, but we just don't know what those specifics are for that deal. But again, if Saquon Barkley wants to be a Giant, an offer, it's there for him. But again, he might test free agency And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a team out there that will pay Saquon Barkley the money that he's looking for. Now, what is that money that he's looking for? Is it the $16 million that everybody has been speculating? He wants that Christian McCaffrey money. You know, if it's $16 million, it's not going to be a lot of teams that's going to pay him $16 million, but you might get one or two teams that are willing to do that. I don't know everybody's salaries, cap space or anything like that. I don't know every team, but there's some teams, in my opinion, that are absolutely willing to pay Saquon Barkley, whether it be a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal. But again, if Saquon Barkley wants to be a New York Giant, he absolutely has a pathway to that. But again, also, I don't want Joe Schoen to be bullied. You know, my GM, he's going to stick to his plan, his vision of what he wants the New York Giants to be. And he wants to pay these guys a certain amount of money. And this is for Saquon Barkley. This is for Daniel Jones as well. And I don't want my GM bullied. We heard the news about Daniel Jones switching agencies, and now the CEO of the agency will be representing Daniel Jones personally. So what does that mean? A lot of people say, he's trying to get as much money as possible. You know, he has a big shark now representing him, and this company is known, or this agency is known for getting or setting the market for whatever contract they're up for. Whatever position it is, they're known for getting these guys the most money. Now, here's the thing with Daniel Jones. You had a bumpy start the first 3 years that you were here. You finally got a coach that believed in you. You got a system that is working for you. You got an OC that knows your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, this is going to be the first time, again, outside of Jason Garrett, this is going to be your first year with continuity and success. And the OC is the same. The whole coaching staff, outside of the running backs coach right now, unless some news breaks, everybody's coming back for the most part. And that continuity means something. The roster might not be the same, but just those pieces with the coach, the quarterback, the OC, those pieces are all going to be the same. First time having success. Do you want to go somewhere and see what happens? Start from scratch, trying to build and start with a new OC, a new coach. Do you want to go ahead and do that, risk that over a couple $1 million? And I know, Dash, that's not your money. A couple $1 million goes a long way. I understand that. But still, there's a lot more that goes into play than just the money in some cases. I'm assuming he wants to be successful, not saying that he can't or won't be successful anywhere else. But right now, you saw what you can do with a coaching staff that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Because we had such a horrible regime before. But we have a coaching staff that's smart enough, competent, that's the word, with a competent coaching staff. More than that, because we have the coach of the year. So I'm thinking, or I'm looking at Daniel Jones like, okay, I understand you want to get as much money as possible, but you still need to understand where your bread is buttered. That's the easiest way I can put it, or the clearest way that I can put it. And again, he'll have some options as well, because if we can't get the deal done with Daniel Jones, then we have tools in place, like Joe Schoen said. Will it be a tag? Will another team want to sign you and give up draft picks? So it's a win-win for the Giants when you really think about it. You're either going to get your quarterback at the deal that you want. If not, you're going to get your quarterback on a tag, or you're going to get your quarterback, another team picks him up, and then you're going to get compensation where you wouldn't have gotten compensation if you just let him walk. So we'll see what happens. Again, we're right around the corner from the free agency period. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear even more news shortly about what's going on. And then once that happens, we can start all of these discussions, and we can worry about how we're going to build this team around these contracts. And again, there's a lot of holes in this New York Giants team. We can go down the list: linebacker, cornerback, wide receivers. We need another safety, possibly need another edge rusher if Aziz can't stay healthy. Interior lineman, a center for sure. Will Azudu and McKeithen come back healthy and push for a guard spot? Glowinski, can he improve? Evan Neal, can he improve? There's going to be a lot of things that's going to happen if you can't get Saquon Barkley back. That becomes a big hole to fill too as well. If you can't get Daniel Jones assigned, then quarterback is definitely a position that needs to be addressed as soon as possible if you have a guy that you're looking for. So again, this free agency is starting off just like we thought it would be. Fireworks. Can't wait to see what actually happens when the free agency period starts, to see who gets tagged. Now, outside of the Giants, there's other news. The Lamar Jackson news is something too. And I don't talk much about other teams like that, but I can talk NFL because I watch the team and I'm a fan of the NFL as a whole. That whole Lamar Jackson situation is crazy to me because you have a guy that you believe is a franchise quarterback, and because the numbers might be slightly off as far as wanting it to be fully guaranteed or whatever Lamar Jackson is looking for, things become personal. You see him tweet. You see things going on where possibly if he did have representation, and my man Bass said this earlier in the space, without representation, he doesn't have that buffer. And without that buffer, when you have these contract talks, you take things personal because the team is giving you an evaluation of yourself. And Lamar Jackson's probably hearing these conversations like, you know what, if this is where you value me at, you really don't care about me. And, he becomes not disgruntled. It's another word that I'm looking for. He's not happy with the situation. And, he might have to force his hand. The Ravens might have to, push the tag on him, and then nobody's happy in that situation. But again, free agency period right around the corner. The combine will be next week, if I'm not mistaken. Combine will start. Combine starts next week, and we'll get to see what's going on with a lot of these prospects. So I'm probably going to work on another mock draft probably shortly here. Get another one out there that's pre-combine. And then, we'll see what happens after that because more fireworks. Giants Twitter is going to be on fire. On fire. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.